How's it going, guys? Welcome to Untitled Tropics. And anyone who watches the channel will know that this tank here is the Dual 450, which I basically brought back from having a leak and painting it up and all the rest of it. It was supposed to be my African cichlid tank. Now, why I haven't done a big reveal and all the rest of it is because of this. I messed up. To be honest, I didn't really want to put it up on the channel, but you've got to be honest. When you do screw up, you screw up. You know, I went and sourced the rocks, which are lovely, from a friend of mine. Where, if you notice, the rocks are very similar to the other tanks because they're very cheap, very cheap from someone's garden. I basically prepped them up, put them in the tank. The cichlids were a little bit freaked out when we first done moving them over into a bucket because they were fried when they went in there, and they spent their whole time in the 5-footer, and yeah, moving them over they weren't too happy. There's a lot of glass surfing and stuff like that. If you don't know what glass surfing is if your fish start basically pacing up and down the glass, it means they're stressed out. It's called glass surfing. Now, how did I mess up? Well, I messed up this way. It's a brand new setup. So it's new sand, new rocks. I went ahead and basically I serviced the filters as well. Well, in fact, what happened is there was a lot of particles in the water. I just took the filters from the other tank, moved them over, and I noticed that the water was still pretty dirty. So the OCD part of me decided, no, like I'm not happy. I actually bought a Fluval FX4, very cheap. So I decided to move it all over, and obviously new sponges as well. I didn't wash the biomedia in tap water or anything, but obviously the sponges are new, so there's no biofiltration on it. So in a short way, what I'll say is basically I crashed the cycle. I completely crashed the cycle with the water volume in there, all the fresh clean water in there. Sponges that were clean, basically the biomedia I think just washed out, meaning that it crashed the cycle. After 3 days of having it set up, I tested for, with my API Master Freshwater Kit, I tested water to see where the parameters were, and it turns out that I have 0.25 ppm of nitrites, ammonia, and 0 nitrites. So what does that mean? Well, it's only a little bit of ammonia, but you've got to remember that a little bit of ammonia is enough to kill the fish. And the fact there's no nitrites means that the cycle's gone. Because obviously you should have 0 ammonia and 0 nitrites. The nitrates are a totally different story altogether. But because now there's nothing consuming the ammonia, obviously there's no nitrites there. If I had a little bit of nitrites in there, I'd say, well, the cycle's sort of, it's not kick-starting, but it's still kind of working. And I would expect the nitrites to level down to 0 ammonia, 0 nitrites. But the fact that I've got ammonia and 0 nitrites means that the ammonia is not being consumed by the bacteria. Hence why I am pretty sure that the cycle's crashed. Now, I've done tank to tank to tank to tank, as you know, and I've always used old media and all the rest of it. But I've always used substrate and rocks from other tanks and just moved them over, which seems to have done the trick. This one was a very fresh setup, and really I should have known better. I really should have known better. Now these poor things have been pacing up and down, generally not been very well. Today they seem a lot better, but the levels are still exactly the same. So what did I do? I'll tell you what I've done. I ran out in a panic and went and bought this product called Cycle by Fluval. Now, this is basically concentrated bacteria, and it's supposed to quick start a cycle in the tank. Now, why did I pick this? Well, obviously, if my bacteria have been killed off, I need to replenish the bacteria and cycle as quick as possible. I'll show you around the other tanks, and the reason why I couldn't move these somewhere else is now the tanks are all occupied. I would have liked to have moved one, and plus my 5-footer, the original 5-footer, has been moved into the other room. So yeah. Also with my feathertail catfish, that thing for some reason really likes it around the intakes of the filters, and I always put my heaters at intake to the filters. So what it's been doing is laying its belly across the heater. It's burnt its belly. So that's another problem that's occurred, which is fantastic. Not the greatest start. There's also other things I want to really talk about when it comes to this tank. Is this: when I originally sealed the tank up, it was supposed to have supposed to injection seal the seals. Watched videos on how to do it. I've never done it myself, and it didn't work out. To be honest, I couldn't do it. So literally, in the process of doing it, sorry, pardon me, I had to sort of open the glass like that, fill the gaps, close it back up, squeeze them together, try to clamp them to get the air out of the seals. Now, I got my silicone from Hutton's, which do the silver and the gold label silicones, which are made for a lot bigger tanks. The gentleman insured me that the silver label that I've used on this tank, they use in a sea life centre in Hawaii on a massive enclosure. So if it's good enough for that, then it's going to be more than adequate for this. And so far, so good. Fingers crossed. It's been fine. As you see on the channel, I walk tested it and stuff. It seemed alright. So we're the second day now of the because it's 450 litres. You've got to think about displacement. After all the bits and pieces, I thought, well, maybe 50 litres of this tank is taken up with rocks and sand and this and that. So the product itself is 25 litres, 25 ml per 40 litres. Well, bottle's 250 ml. Kind of worked out that it's the whole bottle for your initial dose. And then the second day, it's 10 ml, works out to almost half a bottle. And third day is also 10 ml per 40 litres, which, yeah, again, is half a bottle. So the joys of having a bigger tank is that when things screw up, your dosing is a lot higher to make up for it. Now, fish seem alright. They seem okay. See, another thing I've done is I had the dirty water from the old filters as well, which basically out of this, and when I've discovered that what I've done, I've dumped all the crap from the dirty filter into the tank as well, which amazingly the FX sucked it up. I mean, the filtration at the moment is excellent, you know, exactly where I want it to be. I think in all honesty, 2 Sun-Suns weren't adequate. I mean, for turnover, weren't adequate. There's still particles in the thing, but I'm hoping that when the bacteria rises in the tank, then there'll be a bit more binding to the substrate. and it will sit a lot more, and you lose a lot more of these particles, but a lot better than it was before. Also, I had an issue with where someone put backgrounds on it. The silicone they used stained the glass. Nothing I could do to take it out. So it's been very rocky, and even a couple of issues like I bought adjustable feet for the tank, which started to collapse when with the rocks and the substrate, and then putting filters in. Because obviously when I tested the legs, it was just water with nothing else in it. So obviously when you're doing your calculations, when you're setting up a new build, weight is obviously a big consideration. Yeah, it's a big consideration. But you know, you've got to calculate all the other bits and pieces, be a bit more thorough. You know, I don't know, maybe memory lapse or whatever, getting old, but certain things what I normally consider I didn't, and then things just happened, which, there you go, you know. End of the day, the channel is about learning, myself learning, showing you what I've learned, and maybe the best ways not to do it as well as to do it. I'm not George Farmer or any of the rest of them. I'm just basically learning as I go along. I'm proud of what I've built, very, very happy with the look of it, and yeah, again, another learning curve and bits and pieces. I've got things to upgrade on this filter. I don't know whether I'm gonna, because I've got an All Ponds 2000 in here, and I've got the FX4 on here. At a later stage, because I can't fit an FX4 in the cabinet, right, FX range filter in the cabinet, I'll be looking at some other filtration maybe. But what I'll do now is just show you around the tank itself, and also I've got I don't know if I put it on the channel, but I purchased a peacock. The first two fish that I purchased that weren't part of this whole fry community that I had was a hat and a peacock. Now the hat at first wasn't eating, didn't like the food I was giving. He came round, look at him. He came round, he seemed to be, he managed to sort himself out, but the peacock got really picked on very badly. I presume was ill. I put him in methylene blue for a week. His eye ballooned out, and it fixed itself. He seemed to get a lot better, a bit more active. But now he does this thing of floating on the top of the tank with the good eye looking down like this, and then later on he'll come down and swim around and he'll eat and that kind of stuff. But he kind of stays away from the rest of the tank a lot of the time, and the fish kind of leave him alone now. So I assume that that's got to be a sign that he's a lot better. But yeah, let me show you the rest of the tank and go from there. Yeah. So I've got the FX4 here, lined up, really doing a good job. Really quiet in comparison to my my son's son. Well, All Ponds actually. It's quite noisy. Then I've got general crap in here. Fish are looking alright. To combat the issue as well, found this little I think it's a filter box, which I took some of the filter media out of my Eheim filter on my planted tank, put some media in there. So just going to see now on a water test where we're at. They're looking alright, but the flashing concerns me. You get flashing here and there. I don't know whether that's a thing to show their dominance, or whether that's actually a water quality issue, since it's not a continuous thing. Yeah, as you can see there's a little bit of flashing by one of them. And like I say, it happens here and now. I'm just about to check the water parameters to see exactly where we're at. And yeah, see how I'm going to deal with it from there on. But it's literally been the third day of treating it with the Fluval Cycle, and the additions of adding some rocks in as well. As you can see, the odd rocks out. These ones here I took out from my other tank, just purely because it had bacteria all over it. So try to seed the tank, try to speed up the whole process really, and obviously add in a bit of biomedia as well to see if we can basically convert it all. So yeah, hopefully that'll be fine. But the tank as a whole looking good. So yeah, I'll show you what else I've done and where everything else has gone. So right, so I'll take you. Take you into the hallway where what I've done here is basically the tiger barb tank I converted into an angel tank. Now, never been a big, anyone who knows me, I've never been a big fan of angelfish, but I've got to admit, this guy here has basically changed my mind. Such a personable fish. I thought, you know what, I'll give him a go. And yeah, I'm starting to really like them. They're very, as soon as you go near the tank, they want to know what's going on. They're always watching you. And yeah, little characters. And yeah, genuinely really like this setup at the moment. You know, I'm going to put a bit more plants in it, I think. You know, singing a little bit. I'm going to put a few more plants in. I'll put a few round the back here. I just went to Pets at Home. Just looked at their tropical range. Ones that said back, I put in the back. Ones that said middle, I put them in the middle. Ones that said front, I put them on the front. Real simple. A real simple way of basically putting plants in your tank. I'm hoping that the light bulbs in this tank are 12 watt LED bulbs, and I'm not too sure of the spectrum. I think they're around about 5.5K. So I'm hoping that's going to be enough for these plants, but time will tell. I'm going to just show you the what's going on in the other room. That's the 180, obviously you know about. All my bits and pieces here, obviously pulling things apart and putting them together and all the rest of it. Sorry about the glare, I'm doing this in the morning. But I am going to be putting out videos on these tanks. Much better quality. The tanks themselves, just run time of the fish doing their thing and the tanks as they are. So if you enjoy that kind of thing, tune in on the channel and check it out. And yeah, so basically what's happened is, I can just loosen this up, here we go. The 5-footers come over here. Yesterday I literally pulled out the paint tray because we'd chipped all the paint off of some of the glass, so I had to repaint it and clean it. So at the moment I'm torn between either a South American setup, because I actually miss my South American setup, or like South American cichlids. Well, you could say that the 180 is dwarf cichlid setup, but this is basically going to be my like I'm thinking geophagas, green terrors, that kind of thing. You know, this one was just more of a dwarf cichlid, tetra, South American-esque type of tank, and that's what I went with this one. Which, do you know what? Believe it or not, it still has loads of growing out to do. The plants on the top are doing fairly well. I'll show you. The peace lily's done really well. I am struggling again with the pothos though, but yeah. Yeah, I'm loving this tank. Really nice tank. Can't wait till it's fully matured and fully grown in. Will be really good. Okay, so done the test. Used the API freshwater master kit to do my tests. And I'll tell you how we went on. On the first day where it all happened and the panic happened and all the rest of it, when I discovered that I had 0.25 ppm of ammonia. Now, really, if you turn around and say, well, it's only 0.25 ppm, and then you don't understand how this whole thing works. Yeah, not to marginalise anyone. All I'm saying is your tank should always be 0 ammonia. So I had, which basically created an alarm for me anyway. 0 nitrites, again, to me gave me the indication that the system had crashed. The bacteria wasn't consuming the ammonia, therefore it was out of whack. My nitrates were 40 ppm, which is roughly about where they come out the tap here. pH 7.6, the high range was 7.4. In this instance really doesn't make a lot of difference. But my whole thing is, I want to look a bit further into the whole thing of the parameters of the fish. As far as I know, it's hard water, and that water should be fine for this species. And I just want to get to the bottom of what the flashing is. Eliminate water quality issues, which kind of sort of went down the drain when obviously I crashed the cycle. But anyway, so the first day I put in a whole bottle of this, the Fluval Cycle. Since it's 25 ml per 40 litres. After displacement, I'll say about 400 litres. So yeah, 250 ml bang, all went into the tank. Right, day 2. So obviously half of that, well a little bit less than half of that, because it's 10 ml per 40 ml after. And on the second day also is where I added the rocks and the additional filter with the already established biomedia. And on the second day, the results were 0.25 ppm ammonia, 0 nitrite, which to me is exactly the same. A little bit frustrating. All the rest of it, apart from, funny thing is, the high range went from 7.4 to 8.2. So I don't know why what was going on exactly in the tank that created that. But there you go, a little bit frustrating, and I thought, well, maybe naively I was hoping for things to just automatically kick off because of the amount of bio I put in there. So it's day 3 now. I've done the test. I've got 0 ammonia, 0 nitrate, and 40 ppm of nitrates. Now, what this could indicate is that now the bacteria is actually consuming the ammonia. So what I might end up having is a spike in nitrates, because obviously the bacteria is consuming the ammonia and will start converting to nitrite. Obviously the whole nitrogen cycle is the consumption of ammonia to nitrite to nitrates, and if you really got it sorted, to nitrogen thereafter, which is very, very hard to do. Some people say it's impossible, some people say it's possible with certain types of media. So yeah, but that's a different kettle of fish, pardon the pun. But yeah, so now on the 3rd day, do I think that maybe this has helped? Yeah, it must have done. It must have done something. I mean, we basically, when you throw this product in, you'll see loads of little white bits. You know, it is basically concentrated bacteria, and it is meant to, I won't say instant cycle, because I think Tetra do a product which is supposed to be an instant cycle, and I think that's a bit of a myth, and I really wouldn't go with the instant cycle mentality, because you probably put your fish at risk. You know, it does take a little bit of time to cycle. What I am going to be trying to develop or demonstrate, sorry, is in the 360 is doing a cycle, fishless cycle, but with ammonia and bacteria, and see how fast I can cycle a tank using that method. But I'll let you guys know about that one. I'll put a video out on it. So the fish as a whole seem alright. They seem pretty good. Obviously I don't like the odd flashing, that kind of concerns me. And something else I've discovered as well. Night lights. Now, moonlights. On here I've got a Chinese style light bar. And what I've been doing is, in my evening times, for about an hour or so, the main light goes off and the night light goes on. And these guys go crazy. And I really never sort of realised, thought to myself, why? Because I've never noticed that behaviour in the other tank. But since the Mbuna, I took the Mbunas out and gave them to my local fish shop, fish store, and yeah, since then I've put them all in. Obviously there's a change in scenery for them. They were stored in a unit in like a bucket, which obviously they didn't like that, and then they've gone into this new tank and it's all different, and plus there isn't the Mbunas now to be aggravating the whole tank. So there's a different type of behaviour in the tank, which I'm getting used to as well, because I've grown these from little fry, and now, and used to them acting a certain way, being a certain way. Now, yeah, I mean, like even feeding this morning was lackluster. It wasn't like how they normally just go mad and consume stuff. So I'm hoping that we're just going through adjustment period, plus obviously the whole thing with the cycle crashing as well. So give it a couple of weeks and I think we'll be alright. Also on top of that, I think I won't do no water changes for about a month, no filter cleans for about a month, and really let the whole system establish again. And fingers crossed, we'll pull this tank back. But really, by the skin of my teeth, I think I might have done it. let's see. I mean, tomorrow I'll be doing the nitrite test to see if we start spiking in nitrite. And to be honest, that's it being 0 ammonia, 0 nitrite is good. Ammonia's gone down, which is fantastic. But see, little bits of behaviour like that of the flashing still tells me that maybe the water parameters are not right. So yeah, I'll let you guys know what's going on, and yeah. But as far as my review on the Fluval Cycle, I think I can. Do you know, I just noticed something. It says treats up to 2,000 litres, 250 ml. Well, how is that supposed to work? Oh, I see. If you're just doing small dose, okay, I got it. If you're just doing 5 ml, what's that? For your maintenance dose, in 5 ml for 40 litres, okay. Right, could do, I suppose. But yeah, it actually, I think it did help, and I do recommend it. Right, God forbid you don't crash. To be honest, if you're watching this video, right, don't do what I've done. Yeah, don't put brand new sponges in there. Let the whole system really mature. Well, a friend of mine always says, mature, 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 mature. That's the key, you know. And I'm always setting tanks up, breaking them down, and all the rest of it. It really doesn't. I don't let tanks settle and mature. And I'm hoping to just leave this one alone, and the other tanks as well now, and let them fully mature and see what they're like in a couple of years' time. Is my goal. I think what I'll do is, instead of breaking them down and setting them up, I'll just set up more. I suppose that's where I'm going to go. So yeah, for my review on the Fluval Cycle, yeah, pretty good product. Recommend it. It's worked for me. Just follow the guidelines on the bottle, and fingers crossed you manage to sort out any problems. Don't crash your cycle if you can help it. Yeah. Honestly, it's no good for you risk the fish, and you just put them through. You put them, like, you make them suffer. So we don't want them to suffer. We want them to thrive, not just survive. So yeah, but yeah, so much for the grand reveal. Like I say, I'm going to be putting out videos on the tanks alone. Just maybe a bit of music in the background, playing, and just so you can enjoy the tanks themselves and escape and all the rest of it. Okay? So thank you very much. Thanks for joining. Like and subscribe to the channel. Please share the videos. Comments are always appreciated. And feedback. Obviously, I'll never turn around and say that I am the leading authority on the subjects that I'm putting out on video. And always open to good advice, and we'll try to give out best advice I can. And yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much. See you guys later. Later.